Now, if you're relying on these bad boys to hit your protein intake, then you're going to enter a whole world of pain, which involves quite a lot of money being spent, as well as potentially not even hitting your protein intake. Now, I'm not talking about these protein shakes specifically, because I'm not going to lie, these are actually really, really, really peng. But what I am talking about is convenience protein foods. You know, like your protein bars, your protein high grade boxes, things like that, things that you can find in the shop just on the aisles that have massive letters at the front saying protein or high protein, and they're sold for about £3 a pop or something like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that they're inherently bad, because they are literally, as what I said, they're convenience foods. In much the same way as if you want the convenience of getting a coffee, you'd probably go to Starbucks or Cafe Nero or Costa. But you wouldn't rely on just drinking coffee from these places, because if you just drank coffee from these places and nowhere else without making it at home, you'd spend a fucking pretty penny, wouldn't you? In much the same way as don't rely solely on these items, so these convenience protein snacks or protein drinks, to hit your protein intake over the course of the day. I'll give you an example. So you know these protein bars that you can get from the shop, these Snickers bars or these Mars bars that you can see? You're going to be spending about £2.50 for one of these, well, especially for my garage. They're literally like £2.50 or something like that. You could probably get 2 for 4, but you know what I mean. And they only have 10 grams worth of protein in them. Or alternatively, you could drink 250 millilitres of semi-skimmed milk for a fraction of the price for around the same amount of protein. Now this protein shake here, this has 20 grams of protein in it for 330 millilitres, and it costs about £1, which honestly isn't bad at all. But you could probably spend £20 to get a full kilogram sack of protein and be making 30 gram protein dense shakes instead. Remember, this is just convenience if obviously you need some extra protein or you haven't got any protein at home, for example. These protein balls that you see at Holland and Barrett and things like that contain around 9 grams of protein, and you're paying literally like £1.50 for a single serving. However, if you literally have around 2 light cheese portions, you know, Baby Bell or Aldi's own light cheese, you could probably get around 15 grams of protein for a fraction of the price as well. So this isn't me shitting on protein convenience items, because they're exactly what they are. They're convenient. But don't rely on them to get the majority of your protein in, because that's probably where you're struggling. You're probably going to spend 10, 20, maybe even £30 a week for a fraction of the protein that you actually need. Where in actual fact, you could actually just ignore the items which scream protein at you and just look on the back of other pieces of food to read how much protein you've got and use a bit of common sense. Because the thing is, food companies know exactly what they're doing. Protein is an essential macronutrient. It's needed for muscle growth, it's needed for your immune system, it's needed for development, it's needed for your cognitive abilities, it's needed for a lot of stuff. So obviously we are led to believe that we really, really, really need it, which we do, but food companies are probably taking full advantage of that by putting protein on the front of food items and then selling it for about double the price of what it would be if it didn't say protein on it. So you just need to think a little bit smarter about it, think a little bit more intelligently about it, and do not rely on convenience protein items to get your protein intake in, because that's where you're struggling. And if you want to catch any more free fitness or fat loss based content without any of the bullshit, as always, make sure that you're either following my Instagram at k.p_health or subscribe to this channel. Peace.